welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. Today I am going to be sharing with you some sort of study advice and revision tips, as at this time of year, unfortunately, a lot of us do have exams coming up, whether that's GCSEs, A-levels, end of year exams just at school in general, uni exams, college exams, whatever it may be. Now is like the vital exam period. So I thought it'd be really helpful for you guys if I did share with you some of my study advice and how to plan your revision to make it the most effective, so that you can get through this revision period a bit easier and a bit more effectively. I myself right now am revising for my end of year uni exams, so I definitely am employing some of these tips myself, and I'm sharing with you the kind of things that work for me and what I find to work really well and really help me get through my revision. So the first tip, which I think is actually one of the most important, is to identify your most productive time of day. Whether that's in the morning, randomly in the middle of the day at some point, or in the evening. I think it's a really good idea to focus your revision around your most productive time, as that way you'll get through it a lot faster, it'll seem a lot easier, and you'll take it in so much better. If you try and do it at a time where you're not really focused, or at a time of day where you naturally just don't take in information that well, it won't be effective. It won't exactly be a waste of time, but it won't be the best use of your time either. So it's better just to get it done in that kind of time frame of when you're actually going to be productive, when you're going to get through it faster, when you're going to absorb it, and then you use your other time for relaxing and actually having some time to enjoy yourself as well. So my tip number 2 is to plan out a schedule, which I think is kind of an obvious thing. A lot of people think about doing it, whether you actually do it or not. You often get told in school to plan out a revision timetable, and I'll be honest, I don't think for GCSEs I did. I think I sort of had a rough idea of when I wanted to cover each subject by, or each week if I was going to alternate between different subjects, but I never sort of thoroughly planned it. I think I did a bit more for my A-levels, but I definitely have for uni, that is for sure. And I find that having a set plan just really helps, because that way on the day you simply just open up your plan, see what you've scheduled in for that day, and just get on with it and get it done. I just think it works so much more effectively. If not, you end up just wasting so much time trying to figure out what you want to do, how you're going to do it, and you just end up losing the motivation as well to be bothered in the end. So I definitely think that it's important to plan a schedule, and for me, like in school you probably have different subjects. For uni I have different modules, and then for each of my modules I've had several different lectures and things going on. So what I'll timetable is how many lectures I want to get through a day, and to roughly work that out I will look at how many lectures I've got in total, how much time I've got to get through them, and when my exams actually are, so when I definitely do need to be done with them. And that way I can divide the number of total lectures that I've had by the number of days that I've got to revise for them, and that way it breaks it down into small sections, so then it's not as overwhelming and you get through all the material and you know you're going to get through it as well, which is definitely something that really helps to reduce stress, and you're not always thinking, am I going to make it, am I going to get through this? You know that everything is going to be scheduled and structured, and you're going to effectively get through it all, and also not overwhelm yourself with doing too much, and then also not underestimating on some days as well, and not doing too little that you end up having to make up for it at the end and do a real big revision session right before your exam. The camera battery was just about to die, so I just have to stop filming for a bit and charge it up. So if the camera's moved at all, that would be why. I've tried to put it back, I think, in more or less the same position. But if it has changed position, then that would be the reason why. My third tip may not be something that works for everyone, but I definitely find it very useful to do this myself, and that is to talk it back to yourself, the material that you're revising, as you do it. I find that this way, by actually just saying it out loud, I take it in so much better. If I'm just reading it, I zone out and I just don't actually take in half the information that I've read. I feel like I am, or I think I know what I've just read, but then if I actually try to think of it myself or try to fully explain what I've just read, I can't. So if I actually read it out loud and then sort of recite it back to myself and kind of test myself of how much I've taken in from that way you effectively learn how much you've actually picked up of that information and whether it's stuck to memory or not. And I honestly find that makes it so much easier to remember stuff. I feel like, I don't know why, just talking it back to yourself and putting it out there and saying it out loud helps to just reconsolidate it, and it's almost like teaching yourself in a way. So I like to read through a page or a section or so of a certain topic, and then when I get to the bottom of that, so I will read a fairly big section, but then I will go through the different sort of smaller sections that I read and try to just tell myself back everything I remember from that section, as if I'm almost teaching myself, just as a way of checking what I've taken in. And honestly, if you've never tried it, it may sound kind of stupid, but give it a go and I promise you it can make such a difference. My tip number 4 is to make post-it notes with key information on it. I generally do this as it's approaching the exam. I will normally go through all my notes 2 or 3 times because I'm the sort of person who can't just read something once or go through it once and then it sticks to memory. I wish I could do that. There's some lucky people who do get away with that, but I have to repeat the information in order for me to really learn it and consolidate it. So in my sort of last revision session leading up to the exam, the last time I'm going through that material in full, what I will do is just take some post-it notes and note down any kind of key information or just names of anything in particular, especially as I'm doing psychology and there are scientific elements to it. So any particular names of certain parts that you've got to remember, or just any scientific words with their meanings, and just key concepts and ideas. And then I find it so useful to either the day before the exam, or if the exam's much later during the day, then on the same day as the exam, I can just quickly go through all the key facts, and I literally do that within like an hour, and I just cover the whole course within an hour or maximum 2 by just going through all these post-its rather than having to revisit all my heavy loaded notes with all the information around it, because I'm hoping by that point I would have picked up all the extra sort of little details, and it just really helps to remind you of the key concepts and ideas just before going into the exam, as that's mainly what will be tested, and then all the other information is just for extra details and things to put in there just to sort of increase your mark a bit. And I did this for my last uni exams. I found it so useful. I'll definitely be doing it again for these ones coming up now. I'll insert a picture. I mean, I do say key information. This is what my desk ended up looking like before my last exams. I did that per module as well. But honestly, another thing with doing this is it's so satisfying when you complete the exam and you just get to rip down all the post-its. There's honestly no better feeling. It's like getting rid of your notes if you don't need them anymore as well. It's just such a relief, and you know that you've got through the exam and it's all done with and you don't have to think about it anymore. My final tip is again something maybe that you've heard of before or kind of sounds obvious, but I did just want to put it in here because I think it is so key and so important, and that is to take breaks regularly. It will vary from person to person how often you'll need to take a break, when you'll need to take a break, how long that break will have to be, but even for everyone, I think everyone can benefit from taking breaks at some point. And I think everyone also has a rough idea of how long they can actually sustain their attention for. Sometimes I do reach a point I'm guilty of getting close, or I know I've only got 1 or 2 more topics left to cover, so I'm like, no, you know what, I'm just going to push through and get it done. But then I try getting through it and I don't actually really take it in. I'm only half-heartedly kind of focused on it, and it just doesn't work that well. Whereas if I'd taken even just a 10-15 minute break to just refresh my mind, look away at something else besides revision, and just do something to take my mind off of it for a while, and then I went back to it, I would get it done so much quicker and take it in so much better, and the time would be so much better spent as well. So I definitely think it's important to remind yourself to take breaks. Whatever you do in that, it's definitely a good idea to get away from something that's not revision related, whether it's just a short break or a long break. Whether you want to watch a short YouTube video or even just scroll through your phone aimlessly for a bit, it can just help to clear your mind. Or even doing something like meditation or breathing exercise can really help to re-energize you, get you back into that revision zone, and then make it a much more productive revision session, and you'll take in the information so much better. So those were all of my tips on how to sort of go about revising and make it the most effective way of doing it, and how to plan out your revision as well. If you have got exams coming up, let me know down below in the comments, and also what kind of exams you've got coming up. And good luck to everyone who is about to take some exams, because they're not exactly the funnest thing to do, not the easiest thing to do either. So I hope it all goes well for you. Definitely let me know what you've got coming up, and wish everyone else as well a good luck down below in the comments who mentions that they've got exams. Let's really support each other on this. We'll get through it all together. I also do hope that you found these tips really useful. Let me know if you put any of them into practice, or if you did find them useful, or if you do anything similar, or even if you have any of your own tips to add. I would love to know. It's always great hearing other people's techniques and things that you might not think of trying out as well. So definitely let me know, and also be sure to smash a big thumbs up on this video if you did enjoy it and found it useful, as well as clicking on that little red subscribe button down below if you're new to my channel. And don't forget, there's also that notifications bell you can tap onto so that you're notified whenever I upload, and I will be sure to see you very soon with a brand new video. Bye!